Hey there guys, welcome to the third video in the series of Cooking Through America's Test Kitchen's Cook's Country TV show Cookbook.
The longest name ever.
Such a mouthful. Where we're continuing to finish up this meal that we had started a couple weeks ago in your time.
We started with pork chops,
Yep,
then we did the green beans, and now we're doing the starch potatoes.
And yeah, these are the roasted salt and vinegar potatoes.
Stuart saw this, and salt and vinegar potato chips are one of his favorites, and he was like, ooh, let's make this one.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like something that was right up my alley. So this recipe is really simple.
We need one of those every once in a while.
Before we get into it though, once again, thanks so much for liking, commenting, and subscribing and being here with us for this video. And you will take a look and see our social media stuff, which we posted right across Joelle's face,
right
somewhere around there. So if you get a chance, check those out, and thanks for being here. So let's get right into the ingredients that we need for this recipe.
This one is super simple.
Super simple.
It's only 4 ingredients. Ready?
Yep.
6 tablespoons olive oil. 2 pounds small red potatoes. 1 1/4 cups salt. The recipe says that if you're going to use kosher salt, which is what we're going to use, you need 1.5 cups, so we're using a little bit more. And 3 tablespoons malt vinegar, and then pepper. And that's it.
That's all. So let's get into prepping it so that we can give these things a taste.
I'm hungry.
Yeah, me too. It's currently 6:11 p.m. and we haven't eaten yet, so this is going to be a while. All right,
here we go.
Let's get into it. All right, so when it comes to preparing this recipe, this is super simple. There's not a lot that goes into making these potatoes. So yeah, I mean, it's really easy. You put on water to boil, and once it comes to a boil, you're gonna add 1.5 cups of kosher salt is what we use. I think it's 1.25 cups if you're using just regular like table salt.
Yeah.
So that's just something to be aware of with that. Depending on the salt that you're using, it's gonna be different. Not by much, but
no, I don't know if it would really make that big of a difference.
No, I don't think it would. Considering when we cooked it, about 1/4 cup of salt worth was laying on our stove top. So,
yeah, once your water comes to a boil, you'll add your salt and your potatoes. The recipe says to try and get the smaller red potatoes. When you buy them at the store, you'll come in a bag. And I just kind of dumped all the potatoes on the counter and like picked out the really big ones and the really small ones and tried to get them all to be the same size so they would cook about the same amount of time, the same amount of time.
And then you're going to keep those in the water solution for about 25 minutes. And I think right around 25
was perfect for us.
Perfect for us.
But and you're just going to test them with a knife, and if the knife slides in and comes out really easily, they're good to go. Right.
So once they've done that, you want to drain the potatoes just to remove any of the water because you don't need it.
No, you don't.
Unless you're a big fan of drinking salt water. A hot glass of salt water is refreshing on a never day. All right.
What you want to do next is set them on a baking sheet that has like a cooling rack in it so that they can dry.
And I will say that once we drained them out, I didn't see much water that had come off of them.
Nope.
I think the salt pretty much took care of that because as you'll see in the video.
The potatoes were red when we put them in the water, and when they came out,
they were white. They were white.
They were like white. That's how much salt was on them.
They were coated in salt, as you'll probably see that it was a pretty hefty coating of it.
Yep.
So once you let them sit, I think it was for 10 minutes.
It was for 10 minutes. Yep.
Then it's time to transfer them to a baking sheet, which you will cover with.
Yeah, I used
6 tablespoons of oil.
I used 5 because it was looking like a lot, and it was a lot of oil. Yeah. It was a thick layer of oil covering the cookie sheet.
Right.
So you transfer the potatoes to the greased cookie sheet, and then you take. I used one of like our 2-cup glass measuring cups, but you could use a drinking glass too, I think. And honestly, it didn't take a whole lot of effort. Just kind of pressed it down until it was flattened, about 1/2 inch, but I just eyeballed it.
Yeah.
And that worked out really well. You can use that to get out all the anger at your spouse when you're trying to cook together.
Once you're done smashing the potatoes, you want to coat them with malt vinegar, about 1.5 tablespoons. That really depends on your taste and what you like to have. For that, if you like a stronger vinegar taste, then put more on. If you don't, then you can hold back on that. You definitely don't need to add more salt. You don't need that. But you do want to coat them with pepper before they go into the oven.
Yep, season with pepper.
And when you're getting your oven ready, you want to make sure that the rack that the potatoes go on are the middle to upper level of the oven. So that's just where oven placement has to be for these.
Yep.
And they go into the oven for 25 to 30 minutes, depending on your oven. We found that ours needed about 5 more minutes, so we were in for half an hour.
But I think it was perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. So once they came out, they were crispy, and you know it's what they were supposed to look like.
Yeah, you definitely want brown on the bottom, so
right.
You don't want to have no color.
And as far as what we saw, you don't have to flip these.
Nope.
Like you can just put them in and leave them,
yep.
and let them go for the half hour that they're in there.
Yep.
They didn't get overdone.
No, I think it was perfect.
Good. And then when they come back out, you want to just brush them once again with the remainder of the malt vinegar. And just like as before, if you want more vinegar, really it's to taste. So if you want more of that, you add more of that
yep.
to it. And that is about it when it comes to these. These are things that you definitely want to serve right away.
Yeah.
Because just like French fries, if they sit for too long, they get starchy, they get not great.
Yeah, and so like they don't stay crisp.
Right.
Yep.
So just something to be aware of because they are potatoes and they are cooked to a point where they're mushy and then they're not great later. But anyway.
We want to talk about cost.
Oh,
I mean, I know potatoes are like $2 for a bunch
yeah.
of potatoes.
So yeah, as Joel said, a bag of potatoes, and we got a 5-pound bag?
I think it was
3-pound bag for like $2.50. Potatoes are cheap. That's
yep.
just what it comes down to. And then you should add salt and pepper. You may not have malt vinegar in your house.
But the recipe does say that cider vinegar can be a good substitute. Mm-hmm. So like if you don't want to go out and buy malt vinegar,
yeah.
and thinking like you're never going to use it again after this,
right.
you could definitely use like apple cider vinegar.
Yeah, like we had malt vinegar and completely forgot we had malt vinegar.
We found it in the back of the cupboard.
That tends to happen. So yeah, it's fairly inexpensive. I think if you have to get the vinegar and everything else, $7.
Yeah,
maybe. For this side dish, which is not bad. And if you use a full bag of potatoes, like an entire 5 pounds, you're gonna feed a lot of people.
Yeah.
On that $7. So
yep.
It's definitely well worth the cost when it comes to making this dish. So with that being said, now we're gonna taste it, and we'll let you guys know what we think about it. All right. So this is the finished product of the salt and vinegar potatoes. Now, when it comes to this type of thing, the reason it stood out to me, this is like my childhood, and I'll tell you why.
Okay. Story time with Stuart, guys.
I grew up in Salisbury, Maryland, which is like 30 minutes from Ocean City, Maryland. I hate the beach. Just hate it. So let me know your hate for me down in the comments below.
I'm sure
because
you have
it. No, but so there, if you're familiar, there's Thrasher's French fries, which is really like a big deal in Ocean City, Maryland. Mm-hmm. You go there, you get your fries, and they only have malt vinegar.
They don't allow you to have
They do not allow you to have ketchup, and if you go to like restaurants and stuff down the boardwalk, there are signs that say, we will not give you ketchup for
French fries.
Thrasher's French fries.
Mm-hmm.
So this seems reminiscent, so we're gonna give it a taste, and we'll see if it tastes like my childhood.
Side note, when I oiled the pan for these, I was like, oh my gosh, there's so much oil. Like it was a ton. But you know what? They did not stick one bit. The bottoms are nice and crispy. So while it might not be healthy, I think it's gonna be good.
Right.
Delicious.
Yeah. There is absolutely nothing healthy about this whatsoever. And it was actually really interesting while we were cooking it because as the potatoes cooked, there was a rim of salt just around the stove top that
when we boiled them
we cleaned up before we recorded what was going on next with that. So, all right, let's dive right in and let's give these a taste. So you're going with your fingers.
I was going to because they're pretty crunchy.
Yeah. So.
What do you think?
Yeah, they smell like Thrashers. All right, let's go. They taste like Thrashers.
They're really good too.
I kind of wish they were a little more vinegary, but that's a personal taste.
You could always add more vinegar if you wanted to.
Mm-hmm. Like I remember I would douse the potatoes with vinegar with that stuff.
The bottoms got really crispy.
Mm-hmm.
The insides are nice and fluffy. And even though we boiled them with 1.5 cups of salt, they're not too salty.
Super salty. So like, if you're thinking these are going to be as strong as a salt and vinegar chip, they're not.
Nope. It's a really nice flavor.
It really is.
Like these would be great as a side, but they also would be good as like a snack, like a party food, like for the Super Bowl.
And you may think that's weird, but it's no weirder than French fries. Like,
yeah, or like twice baked potatoes.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
What would you rate those on a scale of 1 to 5?
I might give them a 5. Like for potatoes, a side of potatoes, they are really good.
Yeah, they are not good for you, but that is delicious. And as far as making them, they're just super simple. You boil your potatoes.
Just like you would for anything else.
You let them sit for 10 minutes, and then you roast them for half an hour. And that's it.
Just smush them and brush a little vinegar on. It's like not hard at all.
It's really easy to do, really delicious. So.
What would you give them? You didn't rate them.
Yeah, I would give them a 5. They're really good. And.
Yeah, yum.
Just on the ease of making them is nice, and the flavor's good. And it is nice that they're not overpowering.
Yep.
They're not going to burn the inside of your mouth because of how much acid there is in them.
Yep.
Test Kitchen really nailed it. This is the final video in the full meal that we did. And between the pork chops, the green beans, and the potatoes, like, you would never think sides would be the star of the plate. Right, but they totally blew the pork chops out of the water. Yeah. So let us know what you think. Is this something that you would try, these potatoes? And also, you know, once again, let us know if there's something that you'd like us to try to make in the future. Meatloaf is coming. Yes, we were going to do that, but Stuart was dumb and left the meat out. We don't have to blame Stuart. We can blame me too. So it happens, but meatloaf is coming, so we'll be working towards that. It's going to be wrapped in bacon. You just spoiled everything. But hey, bacon. Sorry. Who doesn't love bacon? So, all right, so that's going to do it for us in this video. Thanks again for tuning in, guys. And until next time, have a great one, and we'll catch you next time. Bye. Later.